Greetings, music lovers. Welcome to another episode of the Raga Room with Deepa Joshi. Cosmic energy is the life force or Shakti that exists everywhere. It is present in the cosmos, between the galaxies, the molecules, and in the space. Cosmic energy is received by being at peace with one's own self and living in the present moment. It is also known as the energy of supreme consciousness and intelligence. People who possess this energy exude serenity and spiritual awareness. This is the exact energy that drew me to our esteemed guest, Dr. Subhadra Desai.
Dr. Subhadra Desai is a professional vocalist of Hindustani classical genre and an academic engaged in music education and research. Her music is characterized by a graceful voice and meditative timbre, recognized by both music connoisseurs as well as broad spectrum of listeners. She believes in purity in form and purpose and wholeheartedly pursues her art. Dr. Desai has been performing at music festivals and other forums in India and abroad for the past 20 years. She is an empanelled artist with Indian Council for Cultural Relations since 2000 and an accredited A-grade artist at All India Radio and Television in the devotional music genre. In addition to performance engagements, Dr. Desai presents lecture demonstrations and workshops on Indian music at various academic and cultural institutions. In addition to being an accomplished classical vocalist, Dr. Desai is also a keen researcher on Indian culture and has a doctoral degree in Sanskrit from University of Delhi. Her academic works include 2 published books and several research papers on Indian culture and music published in leading academic and cultural journals in India such as Kriti Rakshana, Prabuddha Bharat and others. Music in Valmiki's Ramayana, published by Shubhi Publications in 2008, has received wide recognition across the globe. It is housed in several important libraries, including the one at the Harvard University. Indian Women Seers and Their Songs, The Unfettered Note, was jointly published by Indira Gandhi National Center for the Arts and Aryan Publications in 2017. Dr. Desai has investigated Samavedic traditions of Vedic chanting, the outcome of which is published as a part of her research with IGNCA. She has also recorded and taught Rigvedic chanting at various institutions. Without further ado, let's welcome Dr. Desai to the Raga Room.
Paro diva para ena prithivya tavati mahina sambhabhuva. Om Nabi
Namaste, Dr. Desai. Thank you so much for coming to the Raga Room, and I'm so happy to be talking to you today.
Namaste, Deepaji. Thank you so much for inviting me here. Thank you.
This is going to be a very educative program, I'm sure. because, the first time when I saw your video of Samved. That is what endeared me to you. And there was this calmness in your personality and that stillness where it's almost like your personality is setting a stage to begin concentration, because when your mind is not still, you cannot absorb. So you have that aura in you, and you are an accomplished musician. You've been teaching, you've been performing, you have several compositions to your credit. So it's like a multi-dimensional thing which transgresses an art form, I would say. How did you come into this space, ma'am?
Well, I think it was all destined. These things were never planned. As a student, I was drawn to music, and there was a lot of music in my home. My parents took me to a beautiful place where I started learning at a very young age, and also in my home there was the atmosphere was full of music and literature, philosophy, and there was spirituality, and I saw that in my parents' lives. So all these things, I think they all added their own dimensions in my growing up. And my becoming a musician was also not planned. And I was always thinking of, going into the teaching line. And I was also teaching for a while in the University of Delhi, also in the Ashoka University. But at one point of time, I thought that I have to take a call. And because the most loved thing which I did was music. Yeah. I loved to sing. I loved to listen to music, anything and everything about music that attracted me. And so at one point of time, I stopped teaching and went on fully into performance and learning and teaching music. And of course, the research work was also, again, it was focused on music, and it became like that. It was also not planned. I was studying Sanskrit, and I was studying scriptures. I studied Vedas in the university, and I had wonderful teachers. So I think it all converged at one point of time.
Beautiful. And the world has a way of connecting us to things that we can put everything together. And like you mentioned, spirituality, philosophy, and music, everything was there in the family. So that was a place to begin with, I guess. And you also said that in college you studied Sanskrit. So Vedas have a very, when you listen to them, it's not really easy to understand unless you've had some kind of a training. But it has a very soothing effect when you hear the chanting and when you hear people recite it. It has such a meditative, aura with that. So, what was your? How did you get into it, and how did you feel that it was your calling? You've done so much of research, and how was that symbiosis between music and Vedas established?
That was, as I told, both of these, academics and music, they have parallelly, I have grown with both the aspects of academics and music. And as I was learning music under a wonderful guru who is still my guru. I go and learn from him still now. And the kind of sensitivity towards music that developed in me was because of his guidance. And he's a disciple of a great guru, Pandit Kumar Gandharvaji's disciple, my guru. So I had the best of, both. in my learning years, I had the best of learning in music and I had the best of learning in Sanskrit. So, and at one point of time, when I was in college, and my special paper was Vedas, Rig Veda especially. And in the class, in the Vedic Veda classes, my professor, she used to teach the whole sukta, the collection of hymns that we were going to study. She used to teach it by chanting. So first half hour of the class went on in chanting. So by the end of the class, the whole sukta was by heart. And we were chanting, all of us, in the Udatta, Anudatta, and Swarita Swara of the Rig Veda. So that itself was so wonderful. And being a student of music, it attracted me so much because of that sound of the purity of sound, the purity of Sanskrit syllables, as well as the purity of the musical sounds. So I think it just went on like that.
Wow. And among the 4 Vedas, it is quite known that Samaved is the origin of music, they say. So please talk to us about your research, and if you'd like to tell our viewers a little bit about that.
Well, again, as a student of music, I always wanted to learn how to chant the Samavedic hymns. So Samavedic hymns are not much different from the Rig Vedic hymns. Basically, they are the Rig Vedic hymns. When sung, they became Sama. Sama means singing. Sama means song. So, and there are only a few, about 75 hymns, which belong to the Samaveda Samhita only. All the others are from the Rig Veda. So Rig Vedic chanting I had already learned, and I wanted to know more about the Vedic music. So that took me to different Veda experts, Samavedic experts. But unfortunately, nobody taught me. As a woman, I was always better, you don't chant the Samavedic hymns. They might have some repercussions. I said, what repercussions?
Yeah.
I am a student of Sanskrit. I am a student of music. And I went to so many people, but nobody taught me. Because there is that, that patriarchal social, norms, which the Samavedic Pandits still follow, unfortunately. But so that was the time when I thought, okay, if I can't sing, if I can't learn Samavedic hymns, I must know what it is. I must know how they are sung. Who are the people who are singing them? And how are they singing them? And if these hymns are being sung for so many thousands of years, say 5,000 years, so whether it is a same unbroken lineage they are following, as they say, or they are different. And this led me to, begin my research in a very small manner. Because I wanted to sing the Sama hymns, which they never taught me because I was a woman. So now I wanted to know why they are not teaching me. If they are being sung, how are they being sung? Whether they have any parallel to our Hindustani Shastriya Sangeet.
Yeah.
What are the swaras? So every musician, if you ask, they'll say, Samved, the basic of Hindustani music is Samved. But nobody knows what it is. So what I did was I got to do a research on women seers and their songs. So I wanted to go back to the Samavedic era, and even before that, the Rig Vedic era, whether they were women seers, there were. The Ashanukramani and the Brihad Devata, they have given us 27 names of women seers in the Rig Veda. And their hymns are chanted even now. So my first question was whether any of these hymns were being sung in the Samavedic Samhita also. And I found that there were 4 women seers whose hymns are there in the Samaveda Samhita, and they are being sung today. That took me to the Vedic Pandits, all over India. I traveled. And I was already performing. My Hindustani classical music was running parallelly. I was performing in Delhi and elsewhere all over India. But this was a very wonderful opportunity that I got. And I just took that opportunity and went to these Samavedic Pandits. Then I saw that there are 3 living shakhas. Shakhas are the schools of Samaveda singing. So Patanjali has said Sahasra Vartma Samaveda. So which means there are 1,000, Vartma means road. Or you can say 1,000 schools of Samaveda, of which only 3 are living today. Living shakhas. Jaiminiya, Kauthuma, and Ranayaniya Shakha. So the first work that I had to do was identify the areas where these Samavedic Pandits lived. So I went to them. I went down south to Trishur, Panyal, Palakkad, then Tiruchirappalli, and then some places in Maharashtra, in Gujarat, Varanasi. So many places I went, and Honavara, North Karnataka, where the Ranayaniya Shakha Pandits belong. So I went to many of them and I recorded their psalm. So when I recorded them, then my actual research began, So then I tried to understand whether the manner that all these Sama singers were singing, whether the manner was same or not. It was not.
Okay.
Each of the shakhas have sub-shakhas. Within a shakha, there are 2-3 different styles. Like the Jaiminiya Shakha has in Kerala, they have 2 distinct styles. One is the Kerala Nambudri Jaiminiyas, another is the Tamil Jaiminiyas. Distinct shakhas. And then I tried to find whether what they were singing were in any way, were they parallel to our music or not. And then I found that there were swaras that they were uttering, and they don't know what with swaras. They know that this is this. According to the Vedic names, they don't know. But they are not aware that they are singing, what they are singing are actually the Shadja or Komal Rishabh or Komal Gandhar or the Mandra Dhaivat of our singing.
So beautiful.
So the journey was beautiful, actually. I will not say that it's the journey is complete. No, because I'm yet to learn from authentic Sama Guru, which they have not. Anyway, that's okay. But whatever I found from this research, that is itself is a revelation. And I found that some techniques of our music, like mead, coming from one swara to another swara, linking one swara to another swara, or the murchana, the particular swara murchanas that they are doing, then we do bol alap in our music. We put bol, we improvise the bowl through the alap. What they are doing in the samagana is very similar to that.
Huh.
So these are the beautiful tenets that I found from this research.
Wow. First of all, it is such a nice thing. I think people who have experienced it will resonate with it, that when you find an idea to go on a research, and the joy that every time you discover something when you're learning, that is such a beautiful place to be, and that thing leads you to the next thing. And when you look back, you're like, it all began with this single idea. And very quickly, I wanted to also touch on when you said that it was not very easily taught to women, or you had to go through all the challenges that you did. As patriarchal as it is, and we all do kind of know that, it's very sad also and strange, because women are very intuitive. And when women are taught something of this nature, I think their ability to comprehend, one has to actually explore it, to see how differently women think about things and men think about things. But regardless, that did not stop you, and you went on with your journey, and you are coming out with such great pearls of wisdom. And that will make a perfect segue into how beautifully you discovered that there were already 4 women who had contributed, and that set you off on your journey. And you also published a book. Is that based on that? I think it's called The Indian Women Seers and Their Songs, The Unfettered Note. That was the book that you published.
Actually, I have 2 books, two published books. The first one was published in 2008, and it was based on my PhD thesis, but it came out in the form of a very beautiful book. The name is Music in Valmiki's Ramayana.
Huh.
That was my first book. And this one, Songs of Indian Women Seers and Their Songs, The Unfettered Note, this came out in 2017. And during the research that went on before this book, this has been a life-changing thing for me, because as a musician, as a student of music in my earlier days, I was singing Mirabai.
Yeah.
And along with so many other saints, like, Pandit Kumar Gandharva revolutionized the scene of devotional music in classical music.
Absolutely.
So everyone knows that. And before him, the Pandit Vishnu Digambar Paluskarji, he had brought devotional music into the fore. So as a student, I've already received this training, and I was singing a lot of songs of Kabir, Gorakhnath, Malukdas, Tulsidas, Surdas, and Meera. And all the time I was, there was a question in my mind that why only Meera?
Mm-hmm.
Whether this woman saint was the only one, because there were so many other male saints who I was singing, and such beautiful devotional songs. So this was also very fortuitous. I got a chance to perform songs of women seers at Habitat Center in Delhi. That was in 2005. And when I was asked, so I said, I can sing only Meera, because I've never heard of any other woman saint, so I don't know. So the organizer wanted me to do some research. And she said, okay, why don't you do some research, and why don't you compose and sing? So that began, that journey began there.
Wow.
And you won't believe, during the course of my research with IGNCA, where I did this, who published my book, this one, during the course of my research, I came across 75 women seers.
Wow.
Across India, length and breadth of India, east, west, north, and south. And, as I'm a curious student of music, curious student of music and literature, I should say. So I tried to understand how they were sung. So these women, the first woman seer or saint, if you say, or a devotional poet, the first reference we get is from the south, the Tamil region, 6th century, Karaikalam Mayar. She was a Nayanmar. And slowly, in the whole country, there was Andal in Tamil region, 9th century. Then Akka Mahadevi. And Akka Mahadevi, everyone knows, Veerashaiva, woman saint. But there were so many others. There were 33 other Veerashaiva women. And from different strata of the society. And then there was Lalleshwari in Kashmir. And in Rajasthan, Mirabai, of course, and other Nijara Panth. A very secretive Panth, And there, in this sect, the women were the guru in many instances. And their songs, and also in the east, Shija Layubi in Manipur, and Madhavi Dasi in Odisha, and Padma Priya in Assam, and then Haridasi Bhaktas in Karnataka, and Maharashtra, Varakari Panth, Ramdasi Panth. There were so many, and Andhra, Tarigonda Vengamamba. So the songs of these women, they came from their heart.
Yeah.
So the expression of deep love, which has transcended human love. ऐसे वर को कै वरूं जे जन्मे मरी जाए, वर वरिये गोपाल जी, मारो चूड़लो अमरो भई जाए. Maro chudalo, though Rajasthani girls wear that chudalo on their forehead, that is a sign of, being married. So Maro chudalo, my chudalo should be Amar. So I will marry only him who will make my chudalo Amar. That's what Meera says. And the same, it's vibrating all across among all these women, their love for the eternal husband or the father or the son, God is so close to them. And then I tried to, during the course of my research, I tried to find out how they were being sung. Because these are centuries old songs.
Yes.
And in every different genre, they are being sung. So I started learning them also. And I started including them in my repertoire. After a classical performance, I would sing one Marathi song or a Tamil song of a woman saint, or even a Kashmiri lalwak. So this is the beauty of it all.
Wow, such a beautiful place to be in. And I'm from Karnataka, so Akka Mahadevi, Vachanas, we have grown up,
yes.
Listening and learning too. And the meaning is very simple, and it would probably not have more than a handful of words, maybe 13 to 14 or 20. But the meaning is so deep. And
Yes.
the love, it transgresses everything.
And the love is so fierce, so much of love.
Intense. And at that time,
Intense.
and
intense.
Exactly. Yeah. At that time, that too. I have to ask you, ma'am, among all of these things, I know it's very hard to pick one as your favorite, but if something that that it has touched you and something that is very close to your heart while your research on women's ears, one song like that, and if you would like to sing it for us, that would be so wonderful.
Well, Akka Mahadevi, there are all, I love all of them actually. I can sing so many. I have given full-fledged performances on this in the Bhakti Utsav in Delhi, at Habitat Center. Even in the US, I have performed only on women saints. But I'll just hum,
Yes, sure.
ಅಕ್ಕ ಕೇಳುವ ನಾನೊಂದು ಕನಸ ಕಂಡೆ ಅಕ್ಕ ಕೇಳುವ ನಾನೊಂದು ಕನಸ ಕಂಡೆ ಅಕ್ಕ ಕೇಳುವ ನಾನೊಂದು ಕನಸ ಕಂಡೆ ಅಕ್ಕ ಕೇಳುವ ಚಿಕ್ಕ ಚಿಕ್ಕ ಜಳಿಗಳ ಸುಳ್ಳಿ ಪಳ ವರವನು ಭಿಕ್ಷಕ್ಕೆ ಬಂದೋಡ ಕಂಡೇನವ 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 ಅಕ್ಕ ಕೇಳವ ನಾನೋದ ಕನಸ ಕಂಡೆ.
That is so sweet, so wonderful. Yesterday, in fact, I came across this recording from Mallikarjun Mansoor.
Yes, it is his composition. He composed
so beautiful. That's such a beautiful pick. And I know I'm getting greedy, but you just mentioned the Chudalo one. Did you also want to sing a few lines from that?
Meera. Mirabai, not that one, the one I said. I would like to hum another one.
Yes.
Piyaji Mhare Naina Age Rahiyo Ji. That's Kumarji's composition. पियाजी म्हारे नैनागे रयो जी 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 म्हारे नैनागे रयो जी 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 पियाजी म्हारे नैनागे रयो जी 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 म्हारे नैनागे रयो जी 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 भाव सागर में बही जात हूँ भव सागर में बही जात हूँ बेग मारी सुध लीजो जी बेग मारी सुध लीजो जी पिया जी मारे.
So wonderful. Thank you so much. That was really very nice. And the books that you talked about, the music in Valmiki Ramayana and the women's year. So these are available for purchase.
Yes.
Okay.
They both of them are available on Amazon.
Oh, wonderful. Okay. For sure, I will be waiting to get my hands on it. So many things to talk about and so much of research, and you're working on multiple things. I think art becomes a medium of communication, which connects us to some kind of a deeper personality. Out of the so many things, again, there's another thing that is also very close to my heart is the Buddhist chanting. And your work on that. And you have also had the privilege of performing in the presence of His Holiness Dalai Lama. So do you want to talk about your work on Buddhist chantings and how you came into that?
Well, I must tell you, I have never researched anything on this subject. It was by chance that I had met the Rinpoche in Tibet House in Delhi. He had heard me somewhere, and he wanted me to sing Buddhist chants, in my own way, in my own classical ragas. So I think these are all, these, again, it's fortuitous.
Yes.
So, he would call me at Tibet House and he would give me texts, and to sing. And for many years, I was doing that. And then there was this Buddha Purnima. On the Buddha Purnima day, the Dalai Lama was going to come. And there is a Buddha, in the ridge area, there's a park, Buddha Jayanti Park. And there were thousands of, Buddhist practitioners. And the Dalai Lama was there. And there were many other, there were monks, Tibetan monks and Buddhist monks from different regions, And I was the only singer.
Huh.
So I was feeling, it was such a sacred atmosphere. And I sung a few Buddhist hymns in classical ragas. And it's a very personal experience, but I'll just mention that I received his blessings. He came to me, and there was so much of crowd after the program ended. Everybody was, paying obeisance to him. And I had my tanpura in my hand. I didn't know what to do. I wanted to go and do pranam to him also, but I didn't know because I had the tanpura and I just can't keep my tanpura anywhere because it's such, it's a delicate instrument. So I held it with me, and I was just in my mind, I was feeling, oh, if only I could go and do my pranam. He came to me.
Huh.
He came to me and he said, he just took my hands in his hands, and I took his hands on my hand. It was like that. So you see, it was such a wonderful experience to sing before him and then to receive his blessings in that manner. But this went on, so it just opened a new dimension. And then the vice chancellor of Nalanda, Navanalanda Mahavihara, he also loved my singing Buddhist hymns. So he gave me some more texts to compose and sing. And I think I visited Nalanda about 7 or 8 times, So when I went, I used to sing those Buddhist hymns and then my own repertoire. So it was like that. And mostly these were in Pali and Prakrit. So I took care that I pronounce them correctly because of the language. It's similar to Sanskrit, but it has its own identity. So I went to some of the monks who are based in Delhi. They are Singhali monks. So I went and corrected my pronunciation from them. And then I put tune to them and sang.
Wow, so beautiful. So again, I was wondering if you could sing one such Buddhist hymn, if it's okay with you.
Yathapi ruchiram pupham varnavatam sagadakam eva subhasita vacha सफला होती तो
It's very meditative. Thank you so much for all of this, ma'am. It has been an absolute pleasure talking to you. And all of these things that we get to hear, right? And this will again lead us to research and understand. That would be very informative and educative. Thank you so much for coming to the Raga Room. And it was wonderful talking to you. Thanks a lot.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
Dear viewers, we thank you so much for joining us on this episode of the Raga Room. We hope to see you soon in our upcoming episodes where the soul listens as notes speak. Thank you and have a wonderful day.